in height, by the time I got to junior high and high school, I was starting to do, teenage angst stuff. I just wanted to be popular, so I was
Hmm.
partying. And I didn't stay on a track of I'm honing my craft, I'm working hard towards something. I was just trying to be the center of attention.
Hmm.
And so there was a 2-year vocational course that I did, which was a culinary arts. It was a culinary arts program, and I was going to go on to culinary school in my senior year. I'd been accepted to Johnson Wales, but I did my senior musical
Hmm.
and How to Succeed in Business Without Really Trying, and I thought I was really I was well received. I got a lot of encouragement from my fellow students, and I thought, this is what I've always loved. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to pursue this. I'm not settling
Hmm.
for a second best of anything. And so, short stint on the road
Hmm.
doing children's theater. I moved to New York and I broke into the movie business fairly quickly.
Hmm.
And I had a 10-year career in film working on the production side and
Nice.
ended up running, as we said, a craft service company.
Hmm. Hmm.
And then on one of the films, the director knew I really wanted to be an actor, so she threw me a line, and I got my SAG card. And from that point on, I sort of bounced back and forth between running my crafty
Nice.
business and being a very low level, occasional day player,
That's
lots
what
of extra
Denzel
work.
Washington and DiCaprio said as well. And then they realized who they were. And I'm joking.
Exactly.
He's
Well,
probably been on like the biggest movies. Ramon didn't do his research enough.
well, here's what I realized. I was pursuing this career because I wanted to be famous. I
Sure,
wanted to
sure.
be rich and famous, and that's
Hmm.
an empty pursuit. And so, when I discovered that, and I got out of the business, I became a booking agent. And I worked
Hmm.
for a small boutique agency in New York City for 7 years called Phoenix Talent Agency, specialized in big bands and jazz. And then I started my own agency, and that morphed into including a speakers bureau.
Hmm.
And so when I launched my first agency, and I had a website designed for my company with Steiner Talent, I started getting inundated with calls and emails from
Hmm.
people starting to search the web for this within this business,
Hmm.
talent looking for representation or looking for gigs. And I was popping up high in the SEO, and I tried to
Those
be
were the days.
yeah, I mean, I was very fortunate,
Hmm.
and so, but I tried to be of service to these
Sure.
fellow artists and give them advice, because a lot of it was coming from what I refer to as local regional talent, as
Hmm.
opposed to
Hmm.
the national touring acts and the headliners and the stars that I was booking. And but there was an opportunity here to provide a place for these talents to be found
Hmm.
and discovered and booked by local regional event planners.
Hmm.
And that was it. That was Gig Salad. And me and my co-founder, Steve, who had designed my website, started working on Gig Salad. And here I am 22 years later and living a really great life.
I love it. I love it.
It's a classic, like sort of startups, bootstrapped company, and put everything we made in the first 4 or 5 years back into the
Hmm.
company. We did not take a draw,
Hmm.
and we launched. In official launch was 2007. 2011, we started making our Steve and I made our living from Gig Salad, and it's grown. It's grown from its inception, but it's grown ever since.
I love
Every
it.
yeah,
I do want to go back to something a bit personal, if I may. I usually don't do
absolutely.
this, but
Bring
then
it.
let me know,
No,
but seriously,
thank you.
meaning let me know full permission to say, hey, Ramon, I just want to move on or don't go there.
Of
So,
course.
but you mentioned you're adopted.
Yeah.
And can you talk about has that had any impact who you are today? Have not? And I say it because, I have friends of mine who've been adopted, and for some it's a big issue, not as a 6-year-old grown man, but like they can talk about, hey, here's how this happened, or here's what I had to go through, or here's I had questions. Or for you, was it since you've already said you had great parents who raised you, it was like a normal child? I'm just curious, can you just talk a little bit about then, 50 something years
Yeah.
ago, and now, if you get what I'm asking,
Sure, my
Yeah.
pleasure. I love talking about this
Okay.
subject. I was adopted through Catholic Charities.
Hmm.
And as I said, I was born March 10th. I was home with my parents on March 30th.
Hmm.
And I grew up celebrating that from immediately. Every year we had
Hmm.
my birthday, and then we celebrated the day I came
Very
home
openly. Okay, got it. That's
very
okay.
openly.
Very nice.
And that was the philosophy then, at least through that system.
Hmm.
It was you are a family like any other family,
Hmm.
embrace it,
Hmm.
and you know,
I
move
love
on,
it.
like nothing to see here. And that's how my parents handled it.
Hmm.
Somehow, some way, um, and as good as my experience was, in my head,
Sure.
I, I, the story is I told, the narrative
Hmm.
of my story
I
was
understand.
I was rejected. I
Yes.
was abandoned. I
Yes.
was let go. I wasn't good enough. And that, as a grown man, it's hard to say that
Sure.
some of that hasn't, I'm on the other side of it,
Hmm.
but it never completely goes away. Like there's
Absolutely.
something about those, whether this is counted as a trauma or not.
Hmm. Hmm.
I somehow, some way got to that place.
Yes.
I know now something I didn't know then.
Hmm.
In the past couple of years, I got diagnosed with ADHD. I don't
Hmm.
know how much that plays into it, but what I do know is I felt like I had a stigma. I
Right.
thought I was different.
Sure.
And, as a kid, being different
Hmm.
isn't always the best.
That's right.
And so,
Children can be very mean and cruel. We're kids on both sides.
yeah. So
Yes.
I kept it pretty
Sure.
quiet.
Sure.
I did not share or talk about it. And yet I know that neighbors and friends
Sure. Of
knew,
course. Yeah.
and my friends never brought it up.
Right.
But
Right.
so I went and I took, let's just put it this way, that remained with me in that I was curious where I came from.
Naturally. Yep. Naturally.
And I never wanted to bring it up with my parents because I didn't
Sure.
want them to ever think that what they were
Excellent.
providing, their love, was not enough,
Yes. Yes.
that I wasn't complete as it was. But the
Hmm.
curiosity was there. And then there's
Hmm.
also another component that some adoptees do, and that's the fantasy of where they
Sure.
came.
Yes.
And I was born in New Jersey, so
Yeah.
there was a, was there a chance that my father was Bruce
Hmm.
Springsteen?
Yeah.
Very possibly.
Yes.
I
Very
don't know.
possible.
But so there was that. Well,
Yes.
when I got married at 25, it was
Hmm.
at that point that I went to my parents and said, Mom, Dad,
Hmm.
going to be having kids someday.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
curious.
Yes.
Um, I'd like to do a search.
I love it.
How do you feel about that? And my parents, being as selfless and loving,
Hmm. Hmm.
passionate and empathetic as any parents could be, said, of course, like
Hmm.
we've already given you so much of your
Hmm.
your information. We've given you the box, and
Hmm. Hmm.
I think you even already have it. Like,
That's
here's
right.
where you were adopted from. Have at it. And I started the process. I called Trenton Archdiocese
Hmm.
and said what I was
Hmm.
doing. They told me the process. I write a letter. They receive that letter. They'll do their best based on their records to look
Hmm.
up, can those people be found?
Hmm.
If they are found, how do they, we'll say, hey, there's somebody looking for you. We'll present the letter, and then it's up to them to decide
Yes.
how they want to handle it. They may or may not want to be in contact with you. They may say thank you and move on, whatever.
Hmm.
But as far as searches go, mine went as flawless and seamless and as quick as any. Like,
Hmm.
from the time I started the process, but um I found them in 40 days. And the
Nice.
reason I know 40 days was I started the process and I did a fast. I was
Okay.
involved with a church, a fairly
Hmm. Hmm.
evangelical church at the time.
Hmm.
I was leading a Bible talk.
Yeah.
We were all as members of this church, we were praying for individual things for
Hmm.
ourselves. And
Hmm.
I put out there that one of my intentions of my fast was I want to find my, and on the
Hmm.
40th day, I got the call from my biological mother saying, hey, we'd love to meet. And they were still in New Jersey. My mother and my biological grandmother came into New York City and we met. No, my mother first time met me at Columbus Circle in New York. and it was an amazing
Mm.
it's an amazing meeting. And just the things that natural parents and families take for granted. I'm just looking at this person
Yeah.
and their hands and their
Yeah.
fingernails and
Yes.
face and
The
trying to make
earlobes.
connections. The earlobes, the whole thing, lifted up her shirt and looked at her
Yes.
belly
Yes.
button. No, not
Yeah.
that. But
I got you.
I was told the story.
Yes.
He was 19 years old. My biological father was 18.
Mm.
Um, he denied it at
Yeah.
conception.
Yeah. I get it. Yeah.
She was left on her own. She kept this private and hidden from everybody until the eighth
Mm-hmm.
month, somehow, some
Mm-hmm.
way. And then it was, what was she going to do? And with all the love and compassion that she could muster, she gave me up
That's
for
beautiful.
me to have what she knew she couldn't provide.
Yes.
And
And here we have gig salad.
here we, and here, 59 years later, here's
Where
Gig
you're
Salad.
serving thousands of millions of people.
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
Mark,
yeah,
thank you for letting me ask this. Thank you for sharing much more than I could ever asked. I
of course.
appreciate it because as you get a sense, we're just getting to know each other. But the human
Right.
dimension behind most things, I've interviewed, metaphorically, hundreds, thousands of interviews, whatever it's been for tech execs, but it's sometimes once in a while you get a gem like this where you get to
Yeah.
the little personal side of who
Oh,
they
it's
are.
what
So,
I
yeah.
relish. I much prefer this than talking financials and numbers and
Yes, I appreciate it, and I'll be open on you. I'll just tell you a little bit, and then I will move on. But so for me, I haven't been adopted at all, but I've suffered with depression and other very dark thoughts. Just to
Mhm.
open up a little bit to you, I've
Yeah,
suffered that
thank
over the
you.
years. And to your point about being a grown man, I hope I've not as a child. I've suffered with it, as an adult, but I
Yeah.
hope I've crossed over it. But like you said, it's always we're human, so I
Right.
I do I do have to be cautious. Like if I get in a car crash or something terrible happens to me, I'll
Right.
begin to those self doubts. I'll be like, Ramon, you're a rock star, Ramon. Stop,
That's
stop thinking.
that, right.
It is what it
No.
is. I'm
Yeah.
human. So
It's like, that's right.
yeah,
That's right.
but
Well, I appreciate you asking.
yeah,
And it's been, well, I I've had a great life,
sure.
and it's in spite of or because of, who knows.
Yes, I love
I
it.
believe in fate. I
Yes.
recently asked AI about my adoption, and
Okay.
AI came back with, gives me goose pimples even
Mm,
thinking about it. It referred to my adoption as being rerouted, redirected.
mm,
And as a spiritual person,
mm-hmm,
I've always thought in terms of fate. Like, I ended up exactly where I was supposed to end up. And I
mm-hmm,
have a really wonderful relationship with my maternal side of the family.
mm-hmm,
Like,
mm-hmm.
we're all very close now. I have four half siblings. I'm
Nice.
my mother's husband. They've been married 55 years. Is a part of my life. She, my daughter, uh, who's gotten to know them really well
Mm.
because she went to Brooklyn Law School. So
Oh, that's
for the
nice.
past 4 years, she got to get really close to them. She refers to him as a grandfather. It's a beautiful story. But that, looking at it from that perspective, or just the difference of words and the power of
Mm-hmm,
words, but
mm-hmm,
to have been rerouted, redirected into whether
mm,
it's divine sort of
mm-hmm,
universal movement happened, and it happened on my behalf, it happened on others' behalves, my parents' behalf,
mm-hmm.
that couldn't have children. It's like all of a sudden it's perspective, it's the way we look at things. And
Yes.
if we can stop the storytelling sometimes and just
Mm,
say, maybe this is not what we think is so.
yes.
That really, I loved that. I love the fact that it was just just like, no, you're not going that way anymore.
Mm-hmm,
You're gonna go
mm-hmm,
this way, and let's see what happens over here.
mm-hmm.
And it's a beautiful story.
No, Mark, I love this. Maybe I should start a whole series of podcasts going back to all the people I've interviewed, just talking about their personal lives, whatever they wish to share.
It's all, like I
Oh,
said,
yeah,
this is the essence, this
sure.
stuff of life
It
for me.
is.
I don't
It
like the
is.
surfacey stuff.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. But no, but thank you, Mark, for that. I appreciate this very much. And we will revisit that for sure. Hopefully we'll do it on a live stage one day, but I will take
Hey.
it's not even a drastic left. I think it's flowing with it as AI has
Yes.
shared with you. I do want to touch on Gig Salad, being with Zone of Genius. I reach thousands of entrepreneurs, so I do want to share with them even just a bit. This has been such a rich conversation to those listening, but we're talking to Mark Steiner, who's co-founder of Gig Salad. Gig Salad, what is Gig Salad? I can't remember even we've had such a good conversation. Just repeat what is Gig Salad, and then I want to
Sure.
ask some questions about the milestones of growth, what it was like 20 years ago, and how you've gotten to be a successful
Sure.
person today. But what is Gig Salad? Let me just share
It's
that real
an
quick, then I'll ask you questions.
it's an event marketplace. So marketplaces today are, have been popularized by Amazon
Hmm.
or Airbnb
Yep.
or Uber, these companies they came around after we launched. We launched,
Hmm.
well, we started conceptualizing in 2003. And at the time, there was another company, there was one other company that was doing this thing, and they had started in 1997.
Hmm.
And I wasn't aware of them at the time. It wasn't within my business model. I
Hmm.
was a booking agent. I was
Right.
booking, as I said, national touring acts and performing arts centers and colleges and universities, fairs, festivals. That was my space. I wasn't booking local birthday parties and
Hmm.
weddings and those sorts of things. However, as I said, when I launched or put my website out there and I got these connections, I thought, okay, I got to get back to my core business, which is
Hmm.
booking bands and speakers. But I have this problem because I want to help people. That's my natural tendency. And here was artists reaching out to me looking for answers, looking for guidance. And so I said to Steve, let's at least create a basic directory where these
Hmm.
people can list themselves on this platform, on this website, and then
Hmm.
when the event planners are looking for those clowns and
Hmm.
wedding bands and those sorts of things, they find that website, they're connected, and then let's see how that thing goes, and I'll go back to booking, being Steiner talent.
Uh,
And it just we started looking at the comparables, what competition,
mhm.
what are they doing? Is there anything we could do differently or better? That sort of thing. What should we avoid? And from that very very early beta stage, we immediately started to get traction.
Hmm.
My wife at the time, my ex-wife, she's a concert violinist, so she was
Hmm.
playing weddings and doing
Hmm.
side gigs, and I had lots of friends that were,
Hmm.
local people that were doing that sort of thing. So it was easy to get people on the platform, and then it just sort of took its own momentum, a life of its own, and we did this with very little seed capital. Like
Hmm. Hmm.
our initial investment was a couple $1,000s to pay
Hmm.
to rent-a-coders and those types.
Yes.
And so, but Steve had his Tetro design company. That's how he made his bread
Hmm.
and butter. And I had Steiner Talent. And so we just were doing this thing. And then when we got to the point where we hired a full-time developer in '07, and we had like our big official launch, we started to grow exponentially immediately. The phone started
Hmm.
really ringing, the emails, and I was working around my kitchen table at the time. We had to move out, and we bought a building, and we've been off to the races ever since. But it's a marketplace that we're just an aggregator of
Hmm.
leads, and we're a connector of two parties, the
Hmm.
same way that
Hmm.
Uber and Airbnb and all the other
Hmm.
marketplaces are. And it made sense. I was essentially putting myself as an agent out of business. I was telling these entertain initially it was just people that do what they do on a stage. We later added other event service providers like photographers and bartenders and caterers and all that. But I was basically saying, I understand that you're a right side of the brain, creative. You don't want to have to do the business, all that. But
Hello.
yes, I know the type. And I said, but you don't need it. The people are going to come to you, trust me, and then all you have to do is close it. Just tell them if you're available, give them a price, and
Hmm.
then just book the date. That's all it will take. And so launched in '07, and in 2011, I folded Steiner Talent into the common interest of Gig Salad because we were still kind of close in the business
Hmm.
model.
Hmm.
And but like as I said, I've made my living from that ever since.
I love it.
My total background was, I was in the movie business for 10
Hmm.
years, and I
Hmm.
was an agent, and now there's Gig Salad. And Does that answer? Did that
Yeah,
answer?
no, it does. Perfect, perfect. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, no, you're good, you're good. And the other follow up, a few more questions is that curious. Do you feel that was luck or strategy or a mixture? And here's what I'm getting to.
Great
If you'd
question.
have made Gig Salad today, bought the domain, went to your favorite domain site, hit a few less buttons, everybody, marketplace, overnight.com or whatever you went to bring it together, do you think and then 20 years later it would have happened? Or is it more, like we talk about the iPhone and all these things, some things were birthed at kind of the right time. So there's strategy always, of course. I'm having some fun here, but meaning
Yeah.
it's the right time and people needed Uber or whatever it was. So just
Right.
curious, when you think backwards, did you all do some thought and some planning, or was it, hey, we launched it and did the work, but yet there was a need and it go? Can you talk about that? What's your
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Steve went to FIT in New York, Fashion Institute of Technology for graphic design.
where
I
I've
didn't go to
spoken at
college.
before? I know FIT.
You
Yeah,
know FIT?
yeah,
Great
yeah, I
school.
know.
Lots of friends that went there from my high
Hmm.
school, and then we knew lots of graduates that,
Hmm.
even within the church I was a part of. And
Hmm.
but I did not go to college.
Hmm.
As I mentioned, it's only now that I know why I didn't consider
Sure.
myself a great student. As an academic, I just
Hmm.
didn't think that was for me. So I didn't go to college. And I was just this sort of scrappy Jersey boy
Hmm.
trying to,
Hmm.
figure things out. I'm an ideas guy.
Hmm. Hmm.
I'm a dreamer, and
Yeah,
that's where I'm at
that's me.
most of the time in the clouds, and I
Yeah.
am thinking a hundred different thoughts, 100 different ideas before breakfast. That
Hmm.
sort of way, right? And I happen to think that most of them are incredible,
Hmm.
but call this just one great idea,
I love it.
one being in a
Hmm.
position where the problem for me was
Hmm.
I was taking more phone calls and emails and
Hmm.
answering
Hmm.
people's questions that weren't within my model. So
Hmm.
I was not getting any monetary
Hmm.
return on that time I was spending. And I had to get back to my business.
Hmm.
And so, but I wanted to be helpful. And it was so overwhelming that I thought, okay, there's an opportunity here.
Hmm.
And so lots of luck. Had it
Hmm.
not been for
Sure.
Steve being there, Gig Salad wouldn't be here today. Had it not been for other things that are, yes,
Sure.
luck, uh, again, fate and
Sure.
right place, right time, but not to take away from the fact that it
Correct.
was extremely hard work.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
I was raising a young family at the
Hmm.
time. We moved from Connecticut to Missouri during that time. There was a lot of other factors, and I, first off, I love to work
Hmm.
and I love to build and grow things. Um, so if I wasn't spending time with my when I wasn't spending time with my family, and we definitely had a real we valued the balance of
Sure. Sure.
business and the personal and the professional,
Hmm.
our lifestyles, and making sure that we were with family and they weren't
Hmm.
being sacrificed for that. Um, but when the kids went to bed, I stayed up until midnight working,
Yeah.
and I got up early,
Of
and
course.
and I and I and
It takes
so
work. It takes work. Yeah,
work,
for sure.
lots and lots of hard work. But yeah, I can't say that there wasn't a lot of luck
Yeah, or
too.
the timing.
Um,
I'll give you that and put the timing.
timing,
It was a good.
timing,
Today there's marketplaces, phones, and everything's a dime a dozen. It's a different strategy it may
right,
take. Curious,
right.
can you talk us through some of the 20 plus years you've been doing it, the benchmarks of success, or was it slow, steady growth? And what I'm trying to get at was it referral marketing. Did you did Bruce Springsteen, Oprah Winfrey join the platform one year and you got a million people at once? Can you just
Yeah,
talk about some of the highlights because there's entrepreneurs listening, and I'm curious what your journey. Some of them it was, hey Ramon, we were invited to the White House, Trump or Obama, take your pick, doesn't matter.
sure,
And we got a
sure.
big hockey stick. Or Dave Ramsey in his Southern accent, I'm a 22 years overnight success. What was was
Right.
there any particular fire or jump, or was it just steady and slow growth for you?
Slow and steady wins the
Yeah.
race was us. The cream rises to the top was
Yeah.
our
Yeah.
initial, like that's what we promoted. That's how
Hmm.
that was our culture was just keep working at it.
Yeah.
We were very fortunate, again, whether it's luck or something else, but we came up very high in the searches. So SEO from the
Perfect.
inception was good for us, and it has stayed good for us.
Nice.
Now it's a
Nice.
niche spot, it's niche what we do. So if you're looking
Ish. It's a
for,
big niche though. You know,
yeah, yes,
in the event industry, everybody needs talent. The
it's
key is,
grown.
right, will they choose you all or not, or do it through any number of ways as we have
Right.
today? Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Now social media being what it is
Yep.
and how people find talent, whether it's through TikTok or Facebook or something
Hmm.
else. But we we initially got traction, and
Hmm.
but we always consider ourselves the little engine that could.
I got it. Yeah.
Never took anything for granted,
Hmm.
and we always tried to stay humble.
Hmm.
I mean, we were in the business to serve people, and
Hmm.
we felt like we're providing people an opportunity to do what they love,
Yeah, well,
and
Mark, you're one of the people, Mark. You're not a big oligarch or whatever word you want to use, who's a VC funded. Hey, I hate
oh,
performers in the low key. I'm just doing this. You're
to
one
make
of
it
the
up.
people.
Right.
You're
Yeah.
building this for your people.
For the people, by the people. That was it. That was
Yeah.
it. And so, but it was definitely, there might have been a point or two where it's like,
Sure.
oh, wow, from this year to the next. But it was, we always grown. We've always been profitable. We always managed our cash really
Love it.
well. And we never, no debt.
Yeah.
Um, and we immediately, year one, we started getting hit up by the VCs
Hmm.
and always, I never felt, the fact was I felt like I was at such a deficiency or it felt so inadequate to ever even
Yes.
go
I
into
understand.
the room to talk to them.
Hmm.
That was part of it. I just was like, I don't want it. But the truth was, I really just didn't want to lose my autonomy and my
Hmm.
independence. I wanted to do it on my own, and if I couldn't do it that way, I didn't want to do it. And so
Hmm.
for that reason, it took a little more time. It took time
Yeah.
because one, we had to maintain a second business that we were
Sure.
running.
Sure.
Two, like I said, promoting family first in within our culture was important. So it wasn't we never, even as a startup, we weren't demanding anything more than a traditional 8 hour day.
Hmm.
And it was just like, let's do the work. If we do good work, if we value what we're doing and we value the people that we're serving, if we put it really and we make this really pretty, if we make this
Hmm.
beautiful and we make the UI and the UX what it should be, we should grow and we'll
Yeah.
grow in due time.
Hmm.
And that's how it's gone. And like I said, it took until into the teens,
Hmm.
where all of a sudden it started to be like, okay, we have the infrastructure built, we
Yep.
have an amazing team, great culture. Um, we and we had the momentum that it was like let's start to um let's start to take something
Sure.
out now, and
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that's
That's
what
which
happened.
business should be, which you want
Right.
any of your gig people to do. I mean, this is what
Right.
entrepreneurship and business is about. Um, curious, and what does the team size look like today? What numbers do you discuss? Can you give us a sense of how big the business is? What does Gigsalad look like? Whatever you can
Sure.
share. I'm
Some of this
curious.
some of this has gotten promoted before.
Okay.
The Inc. 5000 just came out, so and we chose not to do that anymore.
Sure.
But we've been pretty open about our numbers in the
Sure.
past, and so this past year we did 27 million as a
That's
marketplace.
beautiful.
As a
Hmm.
marketplace, so be clear that a lot of that goes to
I understand.
our members that we pay
Yeah.
them out.
Yeah.
But and I hope to grow by about 10% this year. I hope to
That's
hit 30
nice.
million. Our
With
team
this
size,
interview, you will. With this interview, you're going to be at 35. Trust me. When
come
this is,
on, Ramon. Mama needs a new pair of shoes.
come
No,
on now.
team size in and around 20 is what
That's
it tends.
nice.
No,
The family size. You know everybody on the team.
oh, without question. We've
Yeah,
been as
that's
high
nice.
as 35.
Yep.
We used to have this really robust, big
Hmm.
marketing department. And through attrition and other
Hmm.
things going on, we just decided we dwindled down
Yep. Yep.
and we essentially just dissolved the marketing department
Yep.
altogether back in
Sure.
2018. And so it's just now that the past year or two, since I guess about 22, we started
Sure.
leaning into marketing again. I've started to
Nice.
go to conferences and conventions,
Hmm.
trade
Hmm.
shows again. I went to South by this
Nice. Hmm.
year for the first
Hmm.
time in 7 years.
Hmm.
Went to NAM out in
Yep.
LA for the first time in January, this year. Things like that. And
Yes.
so the team is starting to grow again. We're definitely doing more on the social side. You mentioned
Nice.
seeing my
Yeah.
marketing how-to videos, and I'm working on my personal brand.
Which is
I
so important. Yeah.
sort of avoided this in the
Hmm.
past. But at this stage of my life, I'm an empty nester.
Hmm.
I've got
Me
nothing but
too.
time, and it's a beautiful thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I've decided I feel more youthful than I ever
Hmm.
have. I have a more ambition that I've ever had. I have several projects I'm working on. I think all of this again has something to do with my diagnosis and just realizing, deciding that I wanted to be creative again. There's
Hmm.
been several years where I was just sort of floating around. I was
Hmm.
doing fun things. I was traveling a lot. I was going to music festivals. I was visiting my children in the
Hmm.
destinations where they ended up in college and in grad schools and such. And I was having a great time, but I
Nice.
was starting to feel a little empty because
Hmm.
I wasn't doing anything fresh and new, and I
Hmm.
wasn't making
Hmm.
it grow. So I decided I'm gonna be an actor. I'm gonna figure out how to be an actor, for a
I love
legit
it.
actor. But I have a startup that I'm working on. I'm really excited about a
Love it.
social gaming app that is close to being at an MVP that
Hmm.
I'll be able to talk about. Me and my partner, we bought out my co-founder in 22, and so it's
Nice.
Locke and I now, and we got into you know investing in our first. We started with where our offices were. We was like, we
Hmm.
should own these. We
Yeah.
initially
Nice.
owned our
Yeah.
office,
Yeah.
then we sold it, and I was like, we should own again. So we've got some real estate ventures, and
Nice.
um, and so I feel like the absolute best years of my life are ahead of me. I feel like I'm
Love
going
it.
to accomplish more in the next 20 to 40 years. I think I'm going to live to 100, and I'm going to do some of the amazing things, like right till the very end. I really,
I'm gonna
I
be there
mean it.
cheering you. We're gonna be in
Great. Yes,
dual
Ramon.
yachts or dual whatever
Yes.
we are. Can you tell me, Mark, what are and talk to the entrepreneurs who are just starting out today, marketplace or not?
Yes.
What are three or four or 100 things that you've done very well, Mark, that you think are some keys to build a successful business? And I'm leaving it open for you. It could be hiring, it could be technology, it could be marketing, it could be who knows what it is.
Yeah.
What are some things you've done that you can think about? Hey, Ramon, here's things I've done pretty well, which is why we're here today. Anything that comes to
Yeah.
mind?
Well, in the beginning, it's either you and or your founders will
Hmm.
have to wear many hats.
Yes.
Unless you've created the next amazing widget or service or
Hmm.
whatever, and you want to go the route of getting funded
Hmm.
and growing fast,
Hmm.
you're going to have to be scrappy, you're going to have to be lean, and you're going to just have to do a lot of jobs.
Hmm.
It figure out as quickly as possible, as long as you can afford it, to surround yourself with people that can do things, that can do
Yes.
the things that better than you that you could do.
Hmm.
Surround yourself with people that have the strengths and the gifts that you don't have, and that you balance each other out. And choose well. You're
Hmm.
creating a culture, and as a founder, it's a huge responsibility, and you're going to dictate it. It's going to have a trickle down effect of whoever you are as a person, your personality, your
Hmm.
character, your values, your morals, all that stuff.
Hmm.
It's you're creating your little kingdom.
Hmm.
And I'm really, very intentional
Hmm.
as I've gotten older. It was just sort of a natural instinct for me as I was going, that, we want to do things well. We want to treat people well. Those were all
Hmm.
just sort of natural given things for us. But as I've grown up and as I've watched the business, because I never
Hmm.
wanted to be a businessman really, but as I've seen it, there's all types, there's all
Hmm.
kinds.
Hmm.
There's so many folks that have decided to make a living because
Hmm.
of the income because it was a, it's a high, it's a high salary. It
Yes,
provides
yes.
some lifestyle for you that's what, and I've never been that way. I've
Mm,
always been someone who's wanted balance. I like, yeah,
yes,
I
yes.
wanted, sure, I'll be as wildly successful as
That's right.
the universe wants me to
Hmm,
be.
hmm.
However, I don't want there to, I wouldn't trade that. I wouldn't
Yes,
trade
yes.
more money for more stress, and I wouldn't trade more money to treat people
Mm,
poorly. I
mm,
certainly am not, I'm not getting rich off the backs of my team.
yep.
I've told them all along, as the ship rises, you rise with it. And so let's
Mm,
all do good work, and we all will come along together. And so that point of surround yourself with good people, um, people that you like and you trust and think you have your best interest at heart, and vice versa. And even still, like, things happen,
mm,
things can happen in relationships. It's a marriage. It's,
that's right.
you're coming together and you're working together.
Mm.
Work hard. These are obvious things, but the MBA stuff, I can't tell you. I don't know it.
We don't
Um,
need that. We just need the Mark stuff.
yeah, and what I do know is that I wanted me and the people that bought into the vision
Mm,
were people that I said, listen, I I one want to have fun.
hmm.
I want, in- we're gonna spend a third of our lives together,
That's right. That's exactly right.
and so. I hope that my company provides a place where my team gets to do something that they enjoy and love,
Hmm.
that they're making a good enough living, something that they don't have to take home with them.
That's
There's
right. That's right. Oh, I love it.
never stress or anxiety at Gig Salad. There shouldn't be. I mean, we're in the business of like making memories for
Mm,
people. This is like cradle to grave. This is
yes.
the things that we do are the events of people's lives. There's a corporate component to it, but a lot of what we do is private family events. It's birthday
Mm,
parties, anniversaries. It's weddings, it's birth announcements,
hmm.
and on. It's proposals and or the weddings, and
Hmm.
we are we are providing those services that are hopefully making those uh, experiences
Mm.
ones that people will cherish and
No, for sure.
fondly of. And while we're at it, again, we're keeping people employed. We're part of the gig economy. There's
Hmm.
plenty of people that make a full-time living off of Gig Salad, and then there's
Mm.
those that are the weekend warriors and just pick it
That's right.
up as a side hustle, but
That's
just
right.
because they love to do that thing. And but back to your original question, what is
No,
my
this is
advice?
beautiful.
Choose. I hope that people are doing things or choosing businesses that are for the good. I
Mm.
can't promote this book enough. I recently read a book called Stolen Focus by Johann
Mm.
Hari. It
Stolen
is
focus. Okay.
Stolen Focus, and to be a tech business like we are,
Hmm.
I'm really proud that we our our model is, our what we promote is get in and get out. Like, we hope that people find us when they do a search.
Hmm.
They get on the platform, they put in
Mm.
what they're looking for, where they're located, up pops the options, they book something, and then they get off of that device and then get on to their event where we're spending time with one another without distraction. And so the businesses that we create today, the new businesses that are coming up, I pray, my desire, my hope is that
Mm.
we're doing things that are good for people, and it's not just an easy cash grab.
Hmm.
The things that I don't want to get too
Go
lofty or high
for it.
and mighty here about it,
You
but
can. It's
I
okay.
just, yeah, the things that make a difference in this world
Mm.
in a positive way, like
Hmm.
are bringing values and health
Hmm.
and longevity and sustainability to people's lives. That's the businesses that we need today. So whatever the idea is, I, do it with the purest intention that you could
Mm.
possibly have. And and like I said early on for me, I thought I needed to become rich and famous
Mm,
to be happy.
mhm,
And that couldn't be the most shallow, plastic, surfacey, empty pursuit that anybody could have. But I was a young, immature boy
mm.
and trying to fill some void
Sure.
that didn't even need to be there, but I put it there.
Mm,
And once I realized that, well, then I could get on to, okay, what is it I really want to do? And what
mm,
is it that I really can do with my unique gifts and strengths and abilities and my perspective and who I am? What is it that I can create that will be good
mm.
for people? And that's I just hope that more and more companies are doing that in a pure, just a pure way.
Yes. No, I love this, Mark. And I have two more questions for you, Mark. This has been so good. It's like I'm sitting at the feet of Socrates or I don't know,
Oh
some
God, I hope I don't
savant.
sound preachy, but
No, not no, it's a good thing. It's a compliment. Just sitting at someone.
thank you. I
And
received it.
have you ever talked to or do you know the name Jason Fried, 37 Signals founder?
Yeah, yes, yes.
Great. Do you know him? Or you know you've heard of him, but have you talked to him or not, or
I
like been
just
around him?
talked to him briefly at
Okay, good.
Inc. 5000.
Oh, good. You were him and I had a conversation 2 weeks ago, and he has, as you may know if you talk, but he has that ethos. Said
Yes,
Ramon, there's a
yes,
start when it's enough. He's a capitalist. He wants to make money, ventures,
yes,
all the good stuff. But
sure.
his heart is like, no. I told my team, live life. I'm paying you to enjoy. Go on the canoe over the weekend. So I
Right.
love what you said. He's one of the few CEOs who've really, hammered down. No, no, no. Let's make money and then please go. This is go forth and I don't want to see you until tomorrow morning,
Right. We
but I want to see
modeled,
you tomorrow morning. Show
yeah,
up.
we modeled after
Yeah,
Jason's company.
that's nice.
We were definitely inspired and read his books
Yeah,
and
yeah.
yeah. So
Love it.
when you talk to
Last
Jason, let him know.
Oh, I will do that. Last
Fan.
question I have for you is what makes a good gig salad poster? Can you give us this tips and secrets? You're the guy who founded it. Who are the people who like Ramon, here's why they haven't been successful? And or Ramon, okay, here are some of our best people what they're doing. It could be as simple as just filling out the whole profile. But
Yeah.
what are some people that have done it well? And or maybe can you talk about here's why we had to kick them off if they haven't done well or they got bad reviews, whatever it is. Talk about that. What
Yeah,
makes a
yeah. So
great gig salad
as a
poster?
marketplace,
Yeah.
we everything is based on ratings and
Yeah.
stars, right?
Hmm.
Uh, if so, first off, getting experience and
Hmm.
being rated on that experience is number one.
Okay.
Did somebody buy your service? Did they buy your product? And if so, what was that like?
Mm.
And go for the 5 stars. It's the same for us. Anybody that comes to Gig Salad, you should be looking for ratings. If those aren't there, then not to make a final judgment based on that, because sometimes there might be people that are amateurs or just starting out. They didn't have the experience, but they may be fantastically talented.
Mm.
So at that point, you're looking at the criteria being how do they look?
Mm.
And I don't mean that appearance,
How
but
do they show up?
from
It matters. Yeah. How do they?
from a quality of
Mm.
their
Mm.
photos,
Yeah.
their videos. If because if unless somebody in this business very often, and you can probably, I'm sure you will attest to this,
Mm.
Ramon. How many bookings as a speaker have you gotten because somebody was in the audience and heard you speak, saw you firsthand,
Absolutely.
and said, "I got an event next month,
All day.
next
Or the
year."
referral. I told my
It's
boss, we have
referred.
to have Ramon. We have to have him.
Exactly. Exactly. And so short of that, and sort of a friend or a
Mm.
colleague or somebody highly recommending somebody else, if they've not seen you
Mm.
live themselves, then they're going to look at your pictures and your
That's right.
video and your bio and your act description. So be professional. Look
Yes.
at what other highly ranked
Mm.
people have
Mm.
done and copy that.
I love it.
Do that
Mm.
with integrity, of
Yes,
course.
of course. I understand,
Be
but
be true
make
and
it you want to
honest.
look legit. Yeah, the
That's
ratings
right.
look good, and the rest, that's what you all do. You're a marketplace. The
Right.
SEO and search and all that will happen. So, Mark, anything I didn't ask you that you wanted to share? This has been just such an amazing interview. I can't wait to meet you in person. Can't wait
And
to share the
how?
stage with you. Can't wait to
Yeah.
interview on stage.
Yes.
But anything you wanted to mention to me, share that I
First,
haven't asked you?
this, and that I'm not trying to be, blow any smoke here,
Mm.
but our PR firm introduced us,
Yes, that's right.
and I as I was looking at your brand, at you,
Mm.
I bought your book. I'm reading it. I've been in the process this past year of becoming, trying to um, market myself
Yes.
as a CEO.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Mm-hmm.
trying to figure out what my
Mm-hmm.
brand is. This is in the
Mm-hmm.
spirit of me being an actor and just
That's right.
being trying to be a creative. And at this middle age part of my life,
Mm.
realizing that no, I do have, I certainly have experience
That's
and
right.
I have some levels of expertise.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I can articulate that well enough that I can
100%.
share this, whether it's as a speaker or someplace.
Mm.
So I've been leaning into that. And when I saw the book, I was like, perfect. This is exactly what I was looking for. And I've been reading it. And but you as a brand, I just want to say that if for me, because I didn't hone my craft in an early, I
Mm.
said I wanted to be an actor. I
Mm.
wasn't going to acting classes.
Mm.
I said I wanted to be a musician. I wasn't practicing my instruments. I didn't hone my craft. And then I became a talent agent. And I thought, I know talent. I mean, I've
Mm.
been watching it, I've been observing it, I've been a fan. I know what good talent is. And I've always been intrigued and fascinated by those who either appeared to have just a gift from a very
Mm.
early age, or they leaned into something, whether it was a parent that
Mm.
was living vicariously through them and said, "You're going to be a piano player." Whatever it was, somebody that got in there and practiced and did that
Mm.
thing every day. I've just loved being around those types of people. And the point is that when somebody has found their gig,
Mm.
our slogan is peace, love, and gigs. And I believe that is my philosophy for life. If you find peace, internal peace, and you're giving peace and love and internal love, but the gig part, the gig for me for me, it means it's the meaning of life. It's the
Mm.
your specific purpose of why you are here. What is it about your unique self that you can do and do like nobody else? Whatever it
Mm.
is whether you chose it or it chose you. And for you, Ramon, it's very clear that you are meant to be on stage and meant to be sharing that smile and being as positive as you are. You're sharing a great message, and those are the people that I've been surrounding myself in these past couple of years. I have been uh, kind of, whether I'm forming a
Mm.
tribe or
Mm.
surrounding myself by like-minded people or those who inspire me. You're doing it. I want to leave you with that because I'm
I will receive it.
excited to be on this. Yeah.
I'll, I'll receive it. Mark Steiner, the co-founder of Gigsalad, thank you for being with me, Ramon Ray at zoneofgenius.com.